Hi everyone, my name is Ranga Chilakamari from Technology for Tomorrow. Today is the 12th of June 2023. I'm with the good folks of CVOEO, and today we plan to talk about staying safe online. The focus of this class typically is about how to recognize and avoid online scams if possible, but the bad actors are getting smarter and smarter. So this class will keep changing over time. This class is offered free thanks to a generous grant from the city of Burlington, which also pays portion of my salary and for the prep of the materials and things like that. I already said this before. Don't worry about my last name because my daughter could spell difficulty before she could spell my last name. My name is Ranga Chilakamari. I live in Arizona. I've mentioned this before. So I've been an educator and a teacher for about 20 years now. But before that, I'm an engineer. I'm both an electrical and a mechanical engineer. And I did work in an engineering field for a long time. And now I just typically do training. So because this is a grant funded opportunity, we have participants fill up one form. I'll send it out later so that you can go back and fill it up. Nothing personally identifying, but this form, it tells us how many people we could reach out to, right? Because it's a grant funded opportunity. So I am going to jump right in. The quicker we get in, the faster we can talk to each other, okay? Any questions before I begin? Is there anything specific you want to know about?
I'm sure as you develop the class, I will have questions.
Okay. So though it seems like elementary school, I'm going to start by defining what a scam is, okay? A scam is when someone deliberately attempts to cheat you. Okay, when someone is trying to cheat you on purpose. And why do someone want to cheat you? What is it that you have? Right? There are two main things that they want out of you. One or both. The first is money. The second is personal information that they can use to get money later on, whatever way possible. Okay. How this money comes in is shown in these subheadings at the bottom, right? They can ask you to send the money in different ways, and personal information includes password, social security numbers, etc. Here, I want you to think about one thing, okay? Many times online, we take we send images of family members to each other. We send information, birthday greetings and things like that, right? So all these are also personal information of someone for which you are responsible because you're sharing it out with someone else. So don't think your personal information are those few numbers that identify yourself with you. Okay. Uh, and the second thing is, this is one thing that I taught in this class a year and a half ago, and someone after the fact caught themselves when they found something was off. So the person who was online with my student was asking, don't give me your password and username. What is the first car that you had? Right. What is the name of your dog? So apparently he tried to weave into these conversations, but you do recognize these questions, right? Many times these are the questions that they ask of you to identify who you are, in case you forget the password or in addition to the password. So all these information are also part of your personally identifiable information, PII. So this is what I was talking to you about. What was your elementary school called? What is your first pet's name? And my favorite is your mother's maiden name, right? That finds its place in almost everything. So anyone who wants this kind of information, you can just stop the conversation right there. It's fair enough, right? Unless you know it's your bank and you've established that it's genuine, don't volunteer this information out, though it looks like just talking to each other. So in this class, one of the main things we do is not to talk about the scams themselves, but to see how you can recognize a scam before it happens, right? So why is this scam so successful? And why are so many people falling for it? And why is it that nobody can do anything? The reason is, in most of these scams, you knowingly and willingly give up your information, right? Nobody is stealing it from you. They're just cheating you. And because of that, if you give away your money, the money goes out of the bank account. The bank will not do anything. They will only say, oh, you're sorry. Okay. So that is important. So we'll spend extra time figuring out and try to understand what the signs are of a potential scam. There's somehow they seem to have a lot of things in common. Okay. And the second part is about protecting your information online. So the protection of the information online is kind of a loaded question, but I'll start when it to come towards the end of how to do this and what to do about information that's already online about you. Okay. So this is the meat of my presentation, the examples of scams, and go from there. Very small class, just stop me and talk. Usually when someone talks over me, I just stop. Okay, that is my tendency. So don't worry about me ignoring you. But the very first scam is in the form of an email. It's an email that you get that talks about a bank, and it says your bank account has been compromised and secure by providing your login ID, password, and social security number. Okay, and there's a link that says click on this to secure your account. I mean, it's not like we have a lot of bank accounts. So the only one or two bank accounts we have will have little money in it. So obviously it gets our attention. There's no doubt about it, especially if it has the logo of the bank I'm at. Now, let's take a few minutes to see what you notice from this email. Do you see something off?
Off the bat, I see that it's coming from a Gmail account, and I don't think that would be from a professional bank.
Okay, keep going.
The urgency. Usually the urgency, you need to respond now or you will lose it right away, you know. So the urgency is always something that is being taught on the usually the other thing that should be we should look into that will be any misspelling or, but I don't see any. I don't.
Yeah, done pretty well, huh? For a scam email. Yeah, I agree. It's from a Gmail account, and so yes, I did think that what happened. Oh, I cannot change that. So I did see that Gmail thing, and I know now for a fact that no bank will ask you to provide your login, your password, and social security number, right? It's like nothing they cannot ask you to provide anything. All they can do is to ask you to log in to their account and provide whatever it says you should provide. Okay, I think that Gmail was a big giveaway. I agree. That's true.
Ranga, I was gonna ask about the logo too. Like, I don't know that bank, obviously. 'Cause it's
Yeah,
CVOEO,
so
but I
this
always look for the logo, and if it looks right, or if it looks stretched, or if it's a blurry image, I feel like that can be a
that's
giveaway
true.
too.
The true logo of the banks was not used for this presentation because of other considerations. Okay, these things tend to suggest somehow, without intention, that that particular bank has a problem. So that's the reason why. But typically, that big city bank is replaced by a real bank logo. I mean, a logo is not easy to steal from the web, right? You can just download a logo and just put it in an email. It's as simple. It's pretty simple.
Can it be harmful to open phishing emails? Like, are there some emails that you don't even want to open? They'll do something.
So I can tell you what I do. You decide whether that is too strict or not. Okay. If I'm not expecting an email with a link or a file from someone, I will not open it. Suppose River sent me an email with a file. I will contact River, not by saying reply to that email, but by using an alternate method. So River has a phone too. I'm going to call, leave a message. River, I got an email. Is this something that you need me to attend to right away or not? Or if this is something you didn't send, please ignore it. Ignore my message.
That's really helpful. This is all really helpful.
So it's kind of strange, right? Because sometimes you know how they say my account has been hacked, and from that hacked account they send out emails. It looks like the legitimate sender, but I still don't assume if something's out of the way. I'm telling you, it usually comes about money. Okay, I'm really in the hospital and need the money right now. It's like if someone has the time to compose an email and send it out. I don't know how sick they are. That I mean, not that I'm questioning it, but over time I developed habits. So any link here. So for example, right, in this particular email, there is a little link that says secure my account. Let us assume that I thought this is a legitimate email. I will just go open a browser, type in the address of my bank and log in from there. But I will not use this link to directly go to the bank. Because if I suspect it's a scam, usually that link will not take me to the bank. I know I'm only fooling myself, right? So if I just go to the bank, I find everything is in order, I just completely ignore this part. It's not easy, I'm telling you, right? Even though we kind of think we know, we understand this part. So this email and things like messages like these are part of what are called phishing scams. Phishing with a PH at the beginning sounds like phishing because someone is trying to pull you in, reel you in. And these scams are successful because they trick you into giving up your information voluntarily. Okay, what it means is they will not take anything by force. They will tell you, they will convince you, tell me your password. I want to type it and check it out. I know your password. I just want to ask you so I can confirm whether you're the correct person or not, that kind of things. Okay. So you are giving up the information voluntarily. And that makes it a very difficult kind of scam to stop. If, for all practical purposes, if you give up information yourself, it is just another ordinary phone call or just another ordinary message, right? So this can be done in many ways through some kind of programs, emails, websites, and even in social media too. I have seen with links and SM text messages, right? So these phishing scams, I think they comprise about 30 to 40% of our scam numbers. So, but how would you recognize these things. I think Lorena picked up a few of them pretty quickly. First, there is a sense of urgency, right? So urgency makes you respond quickly. Why? Because you're worried about something. But this urgency can also make you feel very happy. Like, $50 for a 1 week all paid expense trip to Mexico, Rocky Point, say, which is pretty popular where I live, and a lot of people fall for this scam. And that limited, if you don't act in the next hour, that's gone. If someone says that, then you can't do much about it, right? So that sense of urgency is what? Why does it do that? The moment you feel the urgency, you stop thinking, because thinking requires time, and you act out of compulsion, like impulse. There's an impulse, right? That's what it is done. They're going to evoke you so that you suddenly feel excited and want to jump on the bandwagon quickly, and you act only on the emotion and not with your reasoning, right? When you're happy, you want to just do something quickly. I think that is what the idea is. I personally tend to fall more for things that I'm going to lose the opportunity if I don't act, that kind of thing, right? I don't remember. I don't know if any of you know this. When I first came to the US, there's someone who came with such a gigantic check. Some publishing house or random house or one of those. You're the winner of, like, I don't even remember the number of zeros. It said, "Oh, all you got to do." And for 2 seconds, I was like, "Man, my life is now in perfect place." The first warning sign we talked about is urgency. The second one are links or attachments, right? So in the past, some of these attachments, they were able to upload viruses onto your systems. That process has gone down to an extent, mainly because they're controlling that to a good part for the main website. So if you go to websites that are questionable, you still risk having harmful links sent to you. Okay. So as a matter of principle, because not just because I teach this class, because I've been doing this for a while, I will not click any links or attachments that are sent to me on my phone. I don't know. That's my rule.
And I think that was part of the Rivers question. If you open this email, how harmful might be. And I think just open the email is, I'm not going to say because I'm not a specialist, but just open the email. It might not be as harmful like if you click on the link that they sent you, I think just for opening the email, because sometimes you don't really know. I mean, like I work with many companies, different companies, and sometimes it's coming from an email with that company. So I open the email, just to figure it out. And then if I find any of these, so I think, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I think River was asking if I open one of these email, how bad it will be. I mean, it's good what you say, Braga. It's just if you actually follow the link that they sent you, might clear more harmful than you.
Right. So just viewing the email is not like a showstopper. It's not going to hurt you quite a bit, right? So even these, right?
I don't know, River, if that was the question that you had before or something like that.
It was, like I put in the chat, I have long COVID, so my brain is a little slow sometimes. I absolutely forgot that was my original question. But this is great.
Yeah, but even if you do this, right? So let's say you got something, you're distracted, you were not thinking, you clicked on a link and it took you to some place, or there is an harmful program that got onto your computer and things like that, okay? So typically what would happen is it would hijack some other programs so that you could not do the things that you were normally doing, right? So many times that is when you kind of go back to the previous version when this was not downloaded. So you go back in time, one of those movies, right? Go back in time when this was not downloaded and you're all good. But you lose this data from that time on to this time. It's a small price to pay instead of investing on a new equipment and trying to figure out what else is going wrong, right? So
If-
I can almost guarantee that if it's coming to you from a company, and for example, my own company is on Google. Okay. So if something terrible is happening to Google and an attachment comes to me to my email, which is a Google account, and it is a bad attachment, it has got some malware that is bad programming that is taking over my system. Because of my one experience, this information is quickly propagated to all the Google users. So next time the same attachment comes to a Gmail, it automatically blocks it. So sometimes that is the advantage of working with really large organizations, because they can, just like they can do things fast, they can also pass this kind of information fast. An attachment with a virus was caught in the Philippines. Within 15 minutes, your email account is protected from that same attachment. Okay, imagine if people were able to propagate it fast enough, we would all be living only in these virus documents, right, all the time. But it doesn't happen all the time. So there are some cases that there are smart people on both sides that try to do this, but I can almost guarantee that if it seems something's fishy, it typically is. Okay. You know, some fall victim to this. So for example, I get my medications from the local Walgreens, and Walgreens, every time the medication is ready, sends me a text. Your RX is ready to pick up, and there is a link where I can go link and see what my copay is, right? I will not click on the link. Though I ordered the medication, I know that it's getting ready. I know that it's ready. It's mine out of habit, right? I don't want to change the habit just for that one link. All I need to do is open another browser tab and just type in Walgreens, right? It's just another 10 seconds extra. But if I decide, I know it is Walgreens, but I can trust it and go quickly, but I'm worried that I lose that kind of edge if I decide to, like, you know, be a gatekeeper and say, I'll click on this, I won't click on this, I won't click on this. So over time, I made this rule that anything that's on the phone, I'm not going to click. I will go test it on the browser. Anyway, so to each their own. It's so I think some of even my colleagues think that I'm a little out there, but it's a lot of things are habit forming for me, right? And I like them to be a habit, so I don't have to think about them. Right now, automatically, I just go back and click on the browser. And you know, you can go to any government website. They will tell you never click on links or open attachments. Okay, they don't say never click on links that you don't know who they're from, or attachments from strangers. You can go look at any of the recommendations from any firewalls or any federal government agencies. As a general rule, this is what I think we should all follow. Okay, and the third one, we spoke about urgency, links or attachments, and the third one is a request for personal information. Okay, any business that is legitimate will never ask you to email your login and personal information. Why? Because they have to be entered on a form online that is encrypted, right? So the data is not going anywhere. So they will not ask you to send the information through an email. They shouldn't. Maybe that's a better way. Some people still do, right? You know, I know of a Chinese restaurant near my house that says, can you give me your credit card number on the phone? Oh, tell me a security code. Right? There's no reason why they can't use it, but some people just continue to do that. And this last part is what I follow. Type the website address directly into your browser, instead of relying on the little link to take you to a, maybe it takes you to the correct place, I don't know, but why take a chance? Okay, I'm going to pause for 1 second here and ask, any questions?
I don't have any question, but I feel like everything changed. Like you say, the class will keep, giving new updates and everything because everything changes so, so fast. Um, Before I worked for the bank for 10 years, and before they didn't use to the logo for the business. And like you say, now it's easier just to copy a logo and make it more, official, the emails and everything. Um, so yes. And one thing that I always tell, especially River, if you're starting a new business, always keep an eye on your bank account, because you have, any bank can actually, every bank offer you protection if you have in an intentional, also like a debit that is not yours, so they can actually give the money back to you. But you have to do it in like a timely fashion time. So always, if you have a business, always keep an eye. Is like 2 minutes of your day, just go through all the transactions, just make sure that they are yours, especially with bank accounts. That's what I'm saying.
It's surprising how, I think for years I've been wanting to know more about just all kinds of security and not falling for things. And I'm just like, it's funny because I actually went to a software development boot camp, and it's funny how like IT and software development can be so different that like it's weird to know how to code but not know about scams on my computer. You know? And this is, so I've been wanting to learn this stuff, and it's really surprising to me. Like your perspective is super helpful. And it's surprising to me the things that I don't know, and people who've been scammed in my life recently. I'm like,
Yeah, that is pretty interesting, River. You bring up a good point. Do you know the scam that took away a lot of money last year around Thanksgiving? It had nothing to do with technology. It had nothing to do with sending messages or emails or doing something, or it involved two people. One person would go befriend a person at the bar, and they would talk, and this person would ask the victim or the future victim, can you pull up directions to this place so I can go and follow along? What do you need to do to unlock your phone? You got to type in your passcode. In a bar, your face doesn't work. So you're forced to type in the passcode. The second accomplice, that person's only job is to see what the passcode you type in. 15 minutes later, both of them are gone with the phone. Next, they go into the thing and try to log into your bank account. The bank account, in its infinite wisdom, will say, we follow the two-factor authorization. We are sending you a code on your phone. Guess who has the phone? Right? And it was an iPhone, surprisingly. They just changed the password to the iCloud, the Apple ID. Apple ID opens everything else, right? Nothing to do with technology, nothing to do with anything, just very low tech scam. And they scammed, holiday season, the scam. So there's nothing anybody can do. That's it. They just lost it. So you see some stories on the news, right? In 24 hours, the bank is wiped out, the accounts are all gone. And so that's what I'm saying. So it may not necessarily be this. It's not like we have to be on the toes all the time. But many of these things that come up now, you can use your fingerprint to unlock the phone, correct? I can guarantee you, it is definitely not only the fingerprint. I can push it and I can still enter a number or a passcode. It is not just your face. I can say, not able to enter your passcode. So in the end, no matter how high tech you get, you will end up still depending completely on that part, right? On that low tech part.
So I don't know if there's a place for this in your presentation, but the other thing that I think that I'll just say that it feels like obviously you're teaching this because a lot of people don't know these things, but it does feel vulnerable to admit the things I do not know. Like how much I don't know. But like I have been like all my things are like, right, I had to get a Fitbit because of full-on COVID. I have an Android phone, like everything but my computer. Like my computer is a Mac because I've always heard that it's harder to hack, but I don't have money to keep buying Macs. And I'm just curious. I guess I've been nervous about like scams. Like I don't really know how to set up a PC to be secure. Like I feel like a lot of times there seem to be things that say they're firewalls or say they're security, but they're actually trying to hack you, or maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about that. What are your thoughts? Or maybe
And
that's not part of this conversation.
No, it's a question, right? The thing is, your question makes me think. That's a pretty good question. But sometimes I think about what is the possibility that someone would want to hack me, right? So if you type in my name on Google right now, you'll kind of know where I live. If you know where I live, you know what the average income of that area is. So, and you'll get an idea of my age, right? You get a good set information that kind of tells you, okay, what is this person's net worth, right? Is he worth hacking into? So that's one way of doing this. The other way is to do it by volume, right? So if I send scam emails to 100,000 people, if 10 people fall for it, and if I get 200 from each, that kind of math works. Okay. The reason why we have come to this position like this, where we have to kind of be extremely careful, or the way we teach is like, be careful, anything can happen to you anytime, that kind of, right, is because we don't have a unified law that protects us online. So for example, if you get up and take a walk at a public park or just go to visit some place, there is some reasonable guarantee that you will be safe, right? I mean, there is some comfort level, right? That is because of the safety systems that the society provides or the government provides. We don't have that in an online thing, and that is done for a reason, right? It doesn't take too much to do it. So if you want to pay your bills, you want to start a small business, half of what you want to do is online now, right? If you can go to online and be assured nobody's tracking you, nobody's using your information to make some money. That's all you expect. Right? That we don't have that, because everything is like, in the past, they would say, do you accept cookies? Yes or no. They found that is too, strong. Now they say, do you accept our cookie policy? Right? It's a strange way, but it means the same thing. And why? I don't know. Did we do this class, Rachel, before about these cookies and stuff? It's a pretty interesting class that I do to show a lot of our participants what exactly happens in the background when you go visit a website. It's a pretty interesting thing, not that, and it's not technical, right? So that the thing is, we always had control of our information, but it's not obvious and straightforward. So yes, you can protect yourself by so sometimes it's some sort of judgment. So I wanted to show you an example of how an employment scam looks like. And now I think you're pretty, you know enough to understand that this is probably too good to be true, right? But there's some part of us that seems to think that, hey, you know what? It is entirely possible. If the chance is 1 in a billion, there's still one, right, as a chance. Okay, and this is something that was pretty popular about being an undercover shopper. I never understood what the thing was, but $5,000 to $10,000 per day. They're never too good. They were good to be true, right? So let's ask if you see this, what is your reaction? I told mine already, so I'm not going to participate. What stands out?
I mean, a whole lot, but I'm going to call out what we didn't talk about before, the typos, the huge amount of money. It seems too good to be true. Gmail account is there again. It's not coming from a authorized business. Yeah, just too good to be true.
Yeah, and I would be surprised if somebody gave me $5,000 a day without even interviewing me, right? No interview.
Not interview necessary.
Yeah.
Before we move forward, Ranga, I will have to leave at 7:30. I mean, I don't know how long do we have still for the.
No, I
for the
got 1,
class?
2, 3,
Yes,
4,
I know
5,
that we,
6
sorry.
slides. Okay. Yeah.
That's
I kind
fine.
of went sideways a little bit, but it's all about protecting ourselves online, right? Keeping safe. It is not exactly an easy digest, but you kind of got a hint on where I was going, and you can see the difference. So homework, when you go back, think of the 3 websites you normally go to, click on that padlock, and just see what they're doing with your computer or your mobile device or your tablet. Okay. Awareness is the very first step towards taking action, right? Whether or inaction, but still awareness, you have to be aware. Then you decide whether you want to do something or not. Then when you want to do something, you will figure out a way of doing what you need to do. Okay. So in this employment job, we figured out that too good to be true, a hiring without a screening process. You start as soon as you apply or once you've been hired. And many of them actually require for a short, quick fix $60. They make you pay for a job. The overriding principles are still the same. They cause you to act on an emotion. Lots of money, no effort, no sweat. That is
Too good to be
amazing
true.
how. So no job should ask you to pay to work. And this is pretty common in Arizona too. Okay, and like both Rachel and Roland identified in a few minutes ago, typos. Well, this is, I can say with the pinch of salt, because I sent out emails with blade, like, in the face kind of typos, and I'm supposed to proofread them all. It can happen once in a while, but now the question is, what would you do? How would you avoid a scam like this?
You really can't.
No, I mean, if you're smart enough, you will say, oh my God, it's too good to be true, and move on, right?
Right.
So, but somewhere inside your mind, you still have that little idea, but maybe that was not too bad. Maybe I wrote it off quickly. Then you do a search for the company online, job title, contact person, and anything, right? But the key is, what are the two things that people are looking for? One, money. Two, personal information. Don't let go of these two until you know what you're doing. That is the end, towards the end. Don't give away your information until you have made sure that this is a legitimate job. And I think we ran this before. We have a couple of things that are happening thanks to COVID, or I shouldn't say thanks to COVID, because we have these romance scams that are happening a lot in older adults. Okay, it's a perfect match. And the only problem is that the perfect match is somehow never able to meet you. And then once the relationship is at the end, it progresses pretty quickly. There is like a big ask of money. Okay. So these are the scams that are taking away a lot of the time and money of our senior citizens now.
The romance scams.
Yeah, so they kind of start quickly, and it's only online, and you'll have many common interests, and there's like a 2 or 3 Netflix series that are on it. And they're pretty, and the women who fell for this scam, and there's a guy who fell for the opposite kind of scam. The women especially are like, C-level executives and things like that. So it's emotional, right? These are matters of the heart. You cannot truly have any kind of judgment if you believe in it. So what are the warning signs?
Yeah, too good
We
to be
covered a
true.
lot of these tactics, right? Typically, too good to be true urgency. Let's do a quick review of this warning signs, okay? And we'll go from there. We saw too good to be true. Doesn't matter if it's a financial scam or a romance scam or an employment scam. There's a sense of urgency, links or attachments. So what do you do with links or attachments? Never open.
Don't open it.
That's it. Request for personal information. And the last 3 that are there are requests for payment, typos, and there are threats. Because of these online things, people are now able to morph some of the pictures, and especially when it comes to children, they kind of say, oh, we have some kind information or some explicit material of your loved ones. So they have this strange way of getting to people. Okay, so in the past, what we would do is we would do this along with a class on Google Docs, right? So when we learn Google Docs to practice any class we do, we make them open the Google Doc first and then practice. Okay, what did you learn from this scam? That kind of thing. A lot of things about the online scams we haven't covered at all, in the sense that, how do you keep your system safe? What happens to all those cookies that are already there in your system? Suppose you want to start with a brand new slate. What would you do? Which browser is better? These kinds of questions. So there is no one answer to all of them, but with 1 or 2 classes and 3 classes, you'll make your own strategy of organizing this. Okay. So I have an adjustment of what I need to do for the next time I teach this class. I'm going to throw that cookies part in. I think it is, but I'm only worried that it's such a loaded subject, right? I don't want to kind of scratch the surface and leave it. Okay, questions, please. I need some water to drink.
Well, I just wanted to point out how grateful I am for all of this and thank you, because there's so many important reminders and I've never thought to click on that little lock. I'm going to do that. I mean, this is going to be a huge time, I don't want to say waster for me, but I'm going to do that with all the sites I frequent for sure.
No,
So
you
thank
don't
you.
need to do it for all, okay?
No, but the big ones that I frequent often the go-to. But
You
I wanted to also share that something that I've been doing is when I receive a suspicious email that looks like it could be a threat, I will go to Google and I will type in, is there a scam with Best Buy or something? That's the one that I got recently and it looked super suspicious and I didn't click on anything, but I just went to Google and I was like, common Best Buy scams. And sure enough, it came up with the same exact email that I had just received. And I was like, okay, that's a scam, like no question about it. So that's helped me, but it's not foolproof.
That's true.
Oh, Lorena, I think.
I'm sorry. So what I did really like it was your suggestion of like a saving your password and like you say adding like a kind of like a
Secret
like a
word.
code, security code. No, that I thought that was really genius because you can probably remember like a 4-digit number or with an exclamation point added to those. That's great. I thought that was genius, really.
Over time, right? You tend to have your own smart way of, own way of doing it. And I think my password was compromised from those lists at 2 times. But because my actual password is not that, I didn't care.
Well, let me tell you that one of the worst things, thankfully, didn't happen to me. But having your identity stolen is something that it takes my friend years. Even though she proved everything that she wasn't her and everything, she lost her house. I mean, it was a huge. She couldn't recover. She couldn't vote for so long. I mean, it affects her in so many ways. So her identity was stolen as a simple thing, like her phone was stolen, and she has all the information with her phone. She didn't have a security pass, or if she has one, like maybe it was the case of like what you say at the bar that somebody was looking for her code, and everything was on her phone. She has everything, every password, bank, everything saved. I mean, and sometimes we just feel too confident that we are at our phone all the time, and we don't, we don't think that the other people looking for that. And identity theft is a huge thing that it takes you years to recover for that if you do it.
So what else do we need to do if you're starting a business to keep, being safe online is one thing, but I think so if you choose to have a website, how can you know that this website was not taken by someone else or someone will not impersonate you and things like that, right? How do you figure that part out? That is so there was a big thing going on about the Taco Tuesday being patented, right? So this word Taco Tuesday is patented, so they cannot say it anymore in any other company making tacos.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you got it. So there's a big ad thing going on where they're bleeping the Tuesday part. Anyway, there's nothing else. That's what I'm saying. So when you choose these kinds of what website, and many, if you have a website and you accept forms of payment through the website, what plugins do you need to have? So I don't have a business, but as I also look at the website of the company I work for, we've had some challenges where there are people. So I go back and look at the analytics of the website. So last August, guess which country we had the most visitors from? So Russia. And we also had a lot of people filling in our PayPal as donations for 1 cent. And hundreds of them.
For 1 cent. Trying to have access to the page.
Just because they have access to the page and it's like a bot, right? So there are things that we didn't realize then that, why would somebody want to come to a non-profit somewhere living with like 2 people in the company, and why would they want to do anything? But yes, so you have to have this financial understanding of what are they can get to, right? So we have to completely block our page for a few days until we figure this out. So anybody wanting to donate, anybody wanting to see what kind of payments we accept are not available. So good. Oh, that was a nice class. I actually enjoyed talking about this.
Thank you very much. Thank